quick.
Introducing your hosts from Collingwood, Ontario, Canada, Jack Edwards, and his partner from Dallas, Texas, by way of Port Arthur, Texas, Big George. Together, they are the North-South Connection.
Good evening, everyone. Hello. Welcome. We are the North-South Connection, and it is Tuesday at 10:30. And we are live, and we are excited because tonight we're talking about bad blood feuds. And matches. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. That's the 5 count. And ladies and gentlemen, next to me, he's big in Canada. He's Big George. George, how you doing tonight? How's
I'm
Dallas?
above the clouds, man. It's it's beautiful. I mean, it hasn't been a rainy day this week, and I think that's something that I can say that I'd rather enjoy. Nice, cool temps. Texas can get a little hot, so right now it's just it's fine to actually be outside in Dallas right now. But of course, we're here to talk about some bad blood. Not talking about no cool weather, no cool runnings out here. It's just straight bad blood this night. That's why we out here so late, man. You don't handle your bad blood in the daytime. You wait till your grandma go to sleep, you steal a car, and then you go handle that bad blood. So tonight we talking about these matches that have a little bit more gore to them than normal. That's how we're gonna build out the top 5 tonight. But first, I want to try to take a little shoot on the current bad blood event that just passed recently. A couple great matches, a couple odd finishes, but yet there's some questions and there's some things that people are really muttering and talking about right now. Of course, everybody's going to talk about the bloodline because, of course, that had a little twist of fate, if you would, if you like to call it that. Jimmy came back. Finally made his return and helped out the
with a super kick. Surprise.
I mean, I didn't expect a clothesline from hell, but at the same time, it was Jimmy. He came back, did his thing, took out, the tag team champs, as you would say, and then kind of, threw off Solo a bit for Roman to go ahead and take over with the spear and, in the match here. But I think that was just one thing that people were actually watching for. Now, also, it kind of started off a little crazy for me, as far as the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre match.
Yeah, it looked brutal.
I'm gonna tell you right now, one of the things about that match that I really loved and enjoyed is that they didn't overdo it with the weapons to a point to where you were like, everything is a weapon, everything is a move based off the weapon. No, they did a couple things here, they did a couple things there. They beat the shit out of each other for almost an hour. It seemed like that was the longest ass whooping for a while. So I feel like you could have took a lunch break and came back and still seen CM Punk and Drew McIntyre beating on each other. So but it was just a real interesting match. Now, of course, there were some other finishes that I was really questioning. Of course, in the women's division, it kind of got a little interesting with Rhea Ripley and then Liv Morgan. I mean,
who was her Raquel?
Yeah, Raquel
Rodriguez?
came in. Yeah, she came in
What's her name?
I think it's Raquel Rodriguez.
Okay.
She came in.
I remember her from NXT. I wasn't. Yeah. I'm not super.
Apparently,
she's a big girl, right?
Yeah. She sizes up with Rhea really, really well.
Cool. Yeah.
So it kind of gives her a little challenge now. She was, if you do your little history, and back in the day, her and Rhea feuded a while back in NXT. So if you want to go ahead and take a look at that,
there you go.
You might get a little interesting look out of that, and you might be interested in the results as well. So, hence the why I guess that kind of makes it a little bit of a splash for her to kind of come in. Like I say, her and Liv were tag team partners at one point in time as well. So, of course, there's a lot of history with her and both parties there. But at the same time, in my mind, I'm like, why are you here? I mean, I really want to know. I really want to go ahead and have this settled between Liv and Rhea. But me personally, it drew some questions. But at the same time, it brings for another element to the storyline. And I'm kind of curious as to if she's going to join the Judgment Day, or is that just I'm here with Liv.
Here's the thing. I think that people were accustomed over the last decade, I would say, or so, give or take, of just just like changing everything on a moment's notice. I think some people are frustrated with like, listen, you're gonna have patience. You're gonna have to wait for this payoff, and like, I mean, they've done a pretty good job overall. And I mean, I think they're chasing. They want letting Rhea because it's easy. They want to see Rhea kill this girl, like absolutely murder this girl, like just dead, like deader than disco. And you're gonna get it. It's just gonna be when as the time is right. Like it. And then interjecting somebody else, I like it. It's smart, like especially more obstacles till she has to get Rhea, and then before she has to get Dom. That's the one.
Yeah.
Like it's good. Like I hope they do the classic. She beats Liv, she gets 5 minutes with Dom, like the old classic 5 minutes with the manager deal. Only this, because that crowd would go bananas. That would be ridiculous. Like that would be one of the loudest pops ever. Like she just murders Rhea, the other girl's dead. Boom, beats the shit out of Dom. Like that's what people want to see, and you're gonna get it. It's just gonna be. Is it gonna be at Mania? I don't know. The Royal Rumble? I don't know. I don't know how long they're gonna extend it. But I mean, if people are talking, even if they're like, well, they're still talking about it. So, it's good for them. And I mean, you know what I think of Rhea Ripley? She's just she's one of the reasons to watch the show. I haven't seen Bad Blood. I've been busy. I've worked a lot, so I haven't seen Bad Blood. I've been meaning to watch it.
It's one to watch.
I heard the finish for their match was a little murky, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. Now, the finish to one match that I was particularly curious about, which kind of caught my eye, was another women's division match, Bayley versus Nia Jax. Now, of course, in my mind, I knew how the match was going to go until I heard it's Tiffy time. Now, you do know she holds the Money in the Bank contract, so she goes out to help, Nia in a sense. But in my mind, like, I don't even think that was necessary. It never dawned on me that Nia needed help in any sense of the word. So it was like, okay. Why are you here? Another why are you here moment. So, but it's really interesting that they got her coming in, and of course she's getting a little bit of the bully action from Nia because she keeps coming in to interject in her matches with this briefcase.
Yeah.
So
it's a good thing about social media, and WWE does a good job of it. Like, because I've been out, like, even if you're busy and you can still keep up on stuff through, like, because everything's on social media. I mean, but like. It's just what you're waiting for that. The other thing I'm waiting for is this. I'm just waiting to see when, what's his name? Xavier Woods. When he finally splits, what's going to happen? Like, is it going to be him? Or is it, like, are they going to swerve? Is it going to be Kofi that kicks him first? But like, that's something is going to happen. I tell you what, they bring Brutus the Barber Beefcake back for an appearance at the barbershop, and those two are on it, something's going to go down. Something's going through that window. That'd be fucking hilarious. Like, yes, this is coming. Like, yes, we're totally going to copy this. Here's Brutus out there, just, and here comes the New Day. That would be awesome. I don't care if I know it's coming. I do not care. I'm like, if they ever did that, that would be the best thing ever. Like, because we all know it's a work. We all know, like, come on, we all know it's coming, but it's part of the fun. That would be fucking funny. Boom! Through the windshield, Brutus is there. That would be hilarious. That would be the funniest thing.
Brutus coming back for that one segment. I would have to see. I would have to see more from it for it to be a segment.
More from him. That's all he's got. He just like, ladies and gentlemen, the New Day.
Right, and
there's been some tension. Brutus could talk a bit. I mean, you can get through it, but just throw him through the god. It would be hilarious. It'd be so funny. But no, I'm waiting for that because that.
I'm not going to even.
They're never going to do it. Let's just say I'm just tossing this out there. But it's just. That's another thing. Like, they're gonna pay it off. I know what's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. Something's gonna happen, but they're making you wait, and that's not too bad. That's not a bad thing. It's like, it's gonna pay off somehow. And then the Cody and the Bloodline thing, The Rock came out, did nothing.
He
making a
literally
promo
came
on
out. I was like,
Instagram.
I look. I was like, he could have saved this shit for Monday Night Raw, and it could have made the show pop like it was the day after
Dude,
WrestleMania. In a
like,
sense.
yeah, but
Because I'm gonna tell you right
him
now,
doing it
his
on Instagram though is probably a better play. It's like he comes out and then afterwards, his Instagram's like 500 million people or something stupid. So like that's going to get big social media action. Then
that's
they'll
free
want
cable.
that coming out of this. What?
That's free cable.
Yeah, but I mean, he's going to get it. Like they know what they're doing. Like with him, like The Rock knows what he's doing. I'm
Well, and
interested. I'm
then
just
you have Kevin Owens taking out Cody Rhodes
yeah.
after the
There we
show,
go.
and I'm like,
That was cool how they did that. That was
hmm,
cool because they just did it in front of fans, and they like the fans filmed it and put it on social media and the WWE. That was cool. That was cool. Like that was realistic. Like it was simple. That was awesome. And I mean, those two will go again and they'll have a good match. And then,
mhm.
like there's like they know what they're doing. I mean, that's the thing. They really like you look at who's in charge of the basic of WWE of wrestling creative. It's like Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I mean, like those guys have been there, and not only have they. I was talking with Tornado about this today. Not only have they been there in terms of being main event stars and drawing money, they've been there in that they both started like Shawn Michaels started in the territories,
Mhm.
and like so with like Bill Watts, so he has all that experience. Triple H started in the independents, WCW, learned from Harley Race and Terry Taylor and all the wrestling he watched. Shawn Michaels, all the wrestling he watched. Like there's like years of experience in them, and that's why it's
Good
like
experience, and it's not just
yeah, good experience.
anybody.
Yeah,
We have like actual
and
champions who are willing to give back to people who are up
yeah,
and coming and
and
understand the business and trying to make it
yeah,
not necessarily easier, but all the plus sides of it. But
yeah, and they're smart enough to like listen to their fan base. Like
right.
they do listen. You know that Triple H does listen to things, which is cool. I don't watch I only have so much time dedicated to the new wrestling product because I'm but like I did see the promo that Oba Femi did. Like just such a cool voice, like he's got and just like a presence. He's gonna be don't rush him, man. Let him build. He's gonna be a star. That dude's
Yeah,
money.
they just took the
They're
belt
building
off.
him the right way. Really?
Yeah, they just took the belt off of him, but I think that kind of helps his case to kind of go for the NXT championship now.
Yeah, he's gonna
I
move
mean,
up. Like
you
he's
gotta
a star.
you gotta
You win
move
and
it up
lose in the game,
unless.
man.
And I
Yeah,
seen a post online that was like, he should have been Keith Lee because Keith Lee held the NXT championship and the North American championship at the same time for a while.
yeah,
And I'm
but
just like,
we'll see.
I mean, maybe they didn't do that because that was, of course, a somebody else move, and we see where people are actually at right now at this very moment. So we got to kind of leave that alone.
I hope he has a good. I hope he's in the Rumble and has a good.
A
Has
good
a
few
good.
minutes, yeah.
Yeah, like I think that'd be good for him. But I like him. He's a star, and I'm like, this is Michaels pushing these guys. Like Michaels is gonna, you know, Michaels I think has a good sense, and and it's just really cool to see because like I'm old enough to remember them as like fucking wrestlers,
Yeah.
like when they were young wrestlers. So it's like it's just awesome that they're still around. But I wanted to shout out a couple things that were WWE related. Well, one major one is I want to give a shout out to Crazy Steve, who wrestles in TNA. But he won the AAA Mixed Tag Championship with Havoc this weekend, I think in Guadalajara. I believe it was there. And a shout out to him because I've known Steve since like he was his first matches. And man, that dude loves wrestling. He sure does. And he's a really good wrestler and a hell of a nice guy. So so I wish him well. And I know he's coming back along with I know Sean Spears is going to be there.
Hmm.
At the it's the Jesse Scott Memorial Show in Niagara Falls. It's coming up this weekend, and it's in honor of Jesse Scott, who wrestled as JT Player and Tiberius King in in Ontario, in my part of the world. And he made a big impact. He started a promotion, and he helped book people and pay people to wrestle. And a hell of a nice guy. Shout out to Jesse. He's a big Indianapolis Colts fan. He and I used to talk football whenever we get together. Hell of a nice guy. So doing a memorial show, all the money goes to his family. He had he had a beautiful young family. So shout out to them. And some of these guys that started Ontario, like Sean Spears started right here. We're in Ontario. I remember promoting some of the matches before he signed with WWE. So it's nice to see those guys become stars and wrestle around the world. So it's pretty cool. Um, but we're talking bad blood tonight, George, and I don't know how this is going to go. But my criteria for this one is not necessarily the most bloody, but also for me, matches that use blood really good. That's something I'm also. There's one here that I think I'm going to put on, but I think I got a really good one and a really good three to put up there. But George, actually, I'm going to go first.
Sure.
I'm gonna kick it off.
I'm very interested to see what you got to
No,
start off
yeah.
with. Because
Number
I'm
one
curious to
is
see what your president says.
yeah. Number one, and it's a totally biased opinion. It's my favorite match of all time. Is Bret the Hitman Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13,
Okay.
where Stone Cold gets the blood and then he's in the sharpshooter and it's dripping down his face. And I mean, that is, my God, that was pro wrestling. The crowd's going bananas. And they do that great double turn where you have Austin becomes the good guy and Bret Hart becomes the bad guy in America and everywhere else. He's the biggest baby face in the world. Because that's how it is. But it was such a good match, so well done, and it's like the thing. The Broken Skull sessions with them talking about that match is just it's so good. Just two grizzled vets, and Bret was like, "You got to get blood. You got to get blood." And they did it. It was no blood policy, but it was it looked really good, and they made it look really good. And Ken Shamrock was the referee for that match. Added so much because it was a submission match. And Shamrock's the best. We were talking about him the other night because we had him up here. He was so good. Took the bump of the night. He's jacked, man. He's still in great shape, but a hell of a nice guy. But yeah, that was, to me, that has to be on the list. And it's my favorite match. I just love it. It's just it's a fucking dogfight, And it was a good crowd reaction. The crowd was into it, the announcers were into it. It's just it had everything. So I got to put that one on there. And it had a lot of blood. So
yeah. I would definitely agree with that, having a lot of blood, but I don't know if they use that much blood compared to some of the other matches that are, but that used the blood properly, like you say.
Yeah, that was.
That's a big point, because I feel like a lot of times you get somebody busted open from a random trash can hit, and it's running down their face like Kool-Aid. So I'm not opposed to a good gory match, but I also want a good match that actually makes sense. And in this case, my choice for one of the best bad blood, rivalries and, matches that you kind of see, or if you want to kind of just turn back the clocks, we're going to go Judgment Day 2004.
Oh,
Eddie Guerrero
from me.
And JBL.
Yeah,
that was one of the best matches that produced a great bloody, gory finish. I mean, I got to tell you, it was fun to watch. You thought they were going to kill each other. I seen everything that I needed to see from Eddie Guerrero to understand why he was champ at that time. He was up there for a reason, and he made sure that, he didn't have 50 bloody matches to kind of make it seem that he should be champion. No, he had really good matches that were honestly really good matches to get Eddie Guerrero kind of in the mix. Live cheating still, he fed into that. It was, what he had to do to get to the top, and when he got to the top, he had great matches like such. So that's my pick. I'm going with Eddie and JBL in 2004.
And that was that artery just kind of like you hit that artery and that was it. Um,
Absolutely.
Next one I'm going with I'm up I'm going way back, but I got to put on the list is Tully Blanchard versus Magnum TA from Starcade '85, the I Quit match, where Magnum TA's got the wooden stick and he's trying into his face. I
Mm.
mean, that was just brutal, And I'm not always the biggest blood guy, but I mean, that's a blood war that you kind of have to put on the list. Um, and so for me, yeah, for me, it's got to be in the top five. So Magnum versus Tully is my next pick.
Okay. Okay. Magna versus Tully, a lot of people probably don't remember.
Don't know.
Magna versus Tully was one of those rivalries you had to know exactly how it got to that point. I think that's what kind of made it that much better. I mean, to go into the vault and watch exactly how it built up to that point, you definitely have to kind of go a little further back. But it's actually
Yeah,
worth the watch. Not gonna lie to you, it's worth the watch.
it's
But
it's 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 quite
I'm I'm
brutal.
I'm gonna throw another bloody beast in this bloody fire. I'm gonna go Shawn Michaels versus Triple H, their last man standing match in '04.
Ooh,
'04 was a good year. That match between Shawn Michaels and Triple H, because they're two of the best in the business. Not gonna lie to you, but when it came down to bad blood, I don't think nobody had it better. Like, of course, there's
yeah,
people who had some rivalries that would kind of lead into um, what makes a good rivalry. They had personal feelings. These people were tag team partners. These people you knew for a fact were best friends. At this point, you knew they held kayfabe and things. All this had happened already. But the one thing that kind of kept happening, and for some reason, nobody kind of really understood. Well, Triple H made it known, but Triple H kept stabbing this motherfucker in the back. Like, it was never a good moment for a long period of time. It was just always, we cool, we good, we are unstoppable together. Fuck this man. And it was just like out of nowhere every time, like every time. So I'm like this. That rivalry kind of built just off of pure jealousy over the years. I remember, everybody heard the stories about how Triple H played second to Shawn Michaels and DX and stuff like that. And so when they brought it back and he turned his back on them then again, and it was just, that's what I call bad blood. That's what I call downright. I got hate in my heart for you. So
mhm.
yeah, I'm
Well,
throwing it in.
so far, George, we've got Stone Cold versus Brett, Eddie Guerrero versus JBL, Magnum versus Tully, and Triple H versus Shawn Michaels last man standing match. Yeah. I'm gonna throw one for the top five list, and I just it's you talk about your favorites and talk about ones you remember.
Mm.
I remember being in a theater in Toronto, Ontario, watching this one, Triple H versus Cactus Jack at the Royal Rumble 2000.
Mm. Okay.
Just
Okay.
like I remember being there, and that just was just like you knew Mick was going out. We were going out with a bang because like bang bang, like that dude was. And then Triple H took that like thing on the pallet, and it went through like it stabbed him in the leg. Like his leg was bleeding. He was like it was
Mm-hmm.
unbelievable, and like a great street fight. Like you knew, but they weren't doing that every week. That was the thing. That was a big show, big money. People were paying. Like I was in a theater watching it, and that theater was packed. Like that theater was packed. That's the thing. Is like it's what I remember about the Attitude Era. You don't see it a lot, and obviously the channels are different. Obviously, you're able to watch it, but like that man, like everybody was watching it, and I just got to throw that one on the list. I just think it's such a good match, so bloody. And I have a couple honorable mentions if we're done, but that's my pick for the top five. We'll see what you have.
I like it. I don't know how it fares up against Mick Foley and Randy Orton. I don't
Yeah, that
know.
was pretty bloody too. I
That was
mean,
another blood feud. I mean, Legend Killer Randy was different. Like, people don't understand. Like, this version of Randy Orton that we have now, I feel like is a great
I
version of
love
him to
Fat Randy
actually.
though.
Fat Randy is great. I love it. I
Shout out
love
to
Big
Fat
Randy.
Randy.
But every version of Randy was a different animal. Bald head Randy, I literally wanted to fight that motherfucker a couple times. Baldhead Randy was just he was that asshole of a champion that you love to hate. He was one of those people.
Yeah,
But also, Legend Killer Randy, which made a lot of people turn heads towards him because, of course, he was targeting your beloved legends. And that was actually probably the smartest thing I've ever seen anybody do in their career was go straight for
yeah,
the legends and actually beat some of them. And not in even just regular
yeah,
fashion, but in bad fashion. So that Mick Foley match where, everybody seemed to
yeah.
kind
That
of be
was
like,
good too. Like,
oh, Mick Foley's gonna do? Hell no. Rick got put through the goddamn dryer. And so it was a lot. I think that's a good match to kind of put up there. So I'm putting that in the hat so we can kind of shake this box up and see what the best five could be. But
yeah,
I'm gonna throw that in there.
I don't mind. Like, I think that's a good one too. That's a more modern one. Like, so I'm
Mhm.
fine with that. I'm not like married to anything here, so I'll put that in. I think that's good. I'll definitely honorable mention with for Cactus Jack and Triple H. One of the
Absolutely.
other ones that I want to do as an honorable mention, going back in the vault, and not a lot of people will know this, but Kerry Von Erich versus Jerry Lawler at Super Clash '88. They That's how they ended the match. Is Kerry he was bleeding so much that they couldn't see, and that's how they had to get out of it because Kerry wasn't going to do a job, and neither was Lawler. So I mean, but it was like he was down and he was just bleeding on him and bleeding on him with a claw. So it was a cool scene, not a bad match. Like both guys were really good, but I'm going to add that to the honorable mentions list because it was. I remember it being really bloody, and just a shout out to a guy like Jerry Lawler. I mean, people think of him as the announcer, and he's amazing, but as a wrestler, like that dude's got to be. He's a top 10 guy. Like he drew money forever,
Mhm.
wrestled every great name in the business for like decades, and like kept himself in really good shape for the most part. And like I think he's, and I met him once. He wrestled a show up here. Very nice guy. He was nice. He was pleasant with the fans, and but just a hell of a worker. Just a great right punch. That friggin' right hand was money, and like so Jerry Lawler and Kerry Von Erich. I'm throwing us on honorable mention.
Hey, love a good Von Eric, um,
Dallas, right? Dallas.
all day, every day, twice on Sundays, you dig? But Port Arthur all day, every day. You already know how that
Yeah.
is. Anywho, um, I got an honorable mention, and I'm gonna throw this honorable mention in there because it's more hysterical than it is actually more of a blood feud. Um, Vince McMahon versus Hulk Hogan, because
Yeah.
I love to see
Yes.
these two assholes beat the shit out of each other and make each other bleed all over the ring. That was hysterically funny. I think that match was definitely one of those. It was something like it was kind of. I mean, it was way past his prime. Like, if you wanted to do something like a Hogan versus um, McMahon, you would have to have done that before you did Stone Cold versus McMahon. And then it would kind of have meant a little bit more. But at the same time, when this happened, Hulk came back to the company and they had a little street fight in '03 at WrestleMania. And I'm like, people watch
Was that the one
WrestleMania
where?
19.
Yeah.
Which one?
Oh yeah. Was that the one where Vince came out from the ring with the eyes?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so.
Like it just like
It just kind of came into the ring and it was just
it was hilarilike.
bro,
Yeah.
first of all,
That was a good one. That was like again, like people talk about Hogan, but like he went out there and kind of almost stole the show in two WrestleManias, like the one with Rock and the one with Vince. Like he was
the
like,
one with Vince, he had no
I
choice
mean,
but to
aside
steal
from
the show
Jericho
because
and Jericho and Michaels was pretty good, weren't they? On 19,
I
Jericho and
think
Michaels stole the show. They had a good
uh,
match, as I remember. And Brock and Kurt had a decent match until Kurt and Rock and Austin had a good match. Was that 19? Yeah, it was 19. Like, but they like, come on. I mean, that was just and Piper came back and just
yeah,
started fucking awesome. Like
yeah.
he just
Rock
like
and
come
Austin did
on,
have a
like
good match, but that was just the thing, man. Like we knew it was a lot of feelings attached to that. Yeah, Hogan defeated McMahon. Rock defeated Austin. Kurt and Brock. Triple H and Ric Flair defeated Booker T in a match. So that was another thing. Um, Trish Stratus and Victoria. The Big Show got beat by the Undertaker, him and A Train in that handicap match.
Oh,
That
that
was
was brutal. Yeah.
yeah, that
But
was tough.
so Hogan, you got Hogan and Vince. Who else you got? Who else? The other honorable mention for you?
My last honorable mention, I would have to say, um, the triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship between Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and the one we don't speak of, Chris Benoit. Um, that
Okay.
was a good match too. He was one of the greatest performers ever. Not gonna lie. If I have to say anything about the man positively, it was that inside the squared circle, and this is only inside the square circle, nothing outside of it, because we know who he was and he got his, punishment for that. Is that he was a really good performer inside the ring, although he did, what he did. He was a great performer. He had matches that were probably more classic than a lot of matches we talk about simply because of, how he actually ended his career. Um, it just seems like that match was a really good match to kind of follow up on, because in that particular match, he won the title, and it was a long time coming. And I think that was just the more emotional part about it, is that you watch his whole career and you've seen everything he went through at this point, and how he got to the WWE and he got exactly what he came for. It was emotional at that particular point, but at the
Hmm.
same time, it was a great match to kind of throw in the pot. That's why I made honorable mention and not top five.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw it in for the last honorable mention. The reason why I like it was just Piper versus Valentine from Starcade '83. If you haven't seen that match, you have to watch it. It's a dog collar match. Piper bleeds from the ear, and that's why I wanted to put it in there, because it's not just from the head. He's bleeding from the ear because the whole thing was he had his equilibrium. It was just so good and such a dog fight just between two of the like two greats just throwing, and the punches were good, and it was no bullshit. There was no lights, there was no techno, there was no nothing. It was just two dudes fighting, and it was a great match.
Some matches you got to kind of attest to the purity of them. I think you have a very vintage eye when it comes down to the wrestling business. You like to compare that, like you do this, like I do football. I like to compare the old football compared to new football. You like to compare old wrestling to new wrestling. Um, that's why I feel like we are old in our own rights, as far as the lineage of where
I'm
we actually
actually
are.
old though. I'm legit old. So
Eh, you just let your hair turn white. You just let it stay there. If people knew how old you were, they'd be like, "Yeah, there's some dye. You're still within
no,
that
no.
bracket."
See, up top. It's like full and fresh,
Hmm.
But I got to make an appointment to go get my hair and beard done. From you know, get
Up
it all
top, you
nice and
look
done.
like
For
you
when
could
I
be this and be like, "Hey, young lady, I'm a nice strapping young man." But when you take that hand down, then it's like, "Nah, Santa, I'm chilling." But it's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I'm okay. But so I got to throw that one in. So I mean, the top five. Here we go. The blood matches. How are we going to rank these? We got Stone Cold and Brett, Eddie Guerrero and JBL, Magnum versus Tully, Triple H and HBK, and then Randy Orton and Mick Foley. So where do you see these ones ranking?
I'm going to throw. Da, 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 da. Let's go at number five. And this might shock you the way I put this at number five, but the reason I put this at number five is going to be Triple H and Shawn Michaels, because they had so
Okay.
many matches that ended up in blood. That just so happened to be one of the best ones. And the reason why I
Yeah.
got to put them at five is because there's so many matches where they have these blood
Yeah.
feuds and things like that. It's just kind of repetitive at some point that you kind of get tired of their matches. But that one's the best one, and that ranks really well because, of course, if they had a lot of them, they had to have one that was really, really good. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you go back and watch that one because it had a purpose behind it. I'll take that one at number five.
Yeah. So. Number four, I think should be Tully and Magnum.
And we have agreements there because that's exactly where I
Yeah,
was going with
yeah,
Tully and
Tully and Magnum's a good number four.
yeah, that's a great
Um,
number four. Kind of round that out.
so I'm trying to think where I'm gonna put these next ones.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm so high on that Stone Cold Brett one just because of the how much the blood meant. Like the blood
At
was
number
like what
three,
made that. Yeah,
I do have Randy and
Randy and Mick. Yeah,
I
that's
do have
good.
Randy and Nick at three, and then I
And
have
then
Stone Cold and Brett at two.
Brett. Yeah, that's where I would put it. Yeah, because number one's Jamie because he hit an artery. Eddie hit an artery
Mm-hmm.
and just bled buckets, but it
Bled,
worked, man.
yes,
And like, and shout out to Eddie Guerrero, like, and like JBL, like, just a perfect match of guys
a
because JBL
massive
came with that like that Texas, like
Texas border
just
bullshit. Hey, I ain't gonna
that
lie to you.
Texas bullshit. That's
Hey,
exactly Texas bullshit. Like there's some dream guys to ever have on a podcast. Like, he's one of them for me. He's such a like storyteller. He's got great stories. He's so, you know, um, but like what a talent. Like people hated him, and they didn't just like hate him. Like people hated him, and Eddie was the perfect guy at the perfect time. A new face, young, and what great matches! Like just unbelievable that match. So like in the blood, the total blood. So I like that list. That's the top five. Is yeah, Eddie and JBL's number one, and
absolutely, absolutely.
that's blood in wrestling. It's goes hand in hand. So,
But it got to be done
but
right. Like I say, I
gotta be
can't
done
agree
right.
with
That's it.
like I say, Hogan and Vince McMahon is on there. That's one of them Kool Aid pillars I like to call. Like everything just bled out. Like Hogan was in the match for like 5 to 6 minutes, and he was bleeding all over the motherfucking place. Like really, Vince McMahon hit you that hard? All right. I mean, it is what it is. I can understand Vince bleeding, but not Hogan. And Hogan was looking
Well,
like, you know, he was painted up like Ultimate Warrior at that point. So it was a lot.
Hogan bled a lot, but no, there's some great matches on there, and check them out if you haven't seen them. But what a great night! What a great show! And I mean, we're gonna come back next week in another one. And George, we're counting the days, man. We're gonna be in Kansas City. If we can
Potentially
fit
a
in a
live
way to
show.
do, if we can fit in a way to do it, maybe from a phone. We might have to be from a phone because my laptop sure ain't working unless you want to bring one. And Wi-Fi might be a bit spotty, but we might be able to do something live. I want to save. I think if we do, I want to do. We're around that time. The top five Kansas City wrestlers. It's going to be some. I think if we're there, we got to pay homage to some of the greats from Kansas City. And there's one number one is taken. There's no one number one, but there's some great dudes on the list. George, we're going to do some research.
Mm,
I already know a bunch, but I think maybe if we can, we'll fit that in because I can't wait. We're going to be live Monday Night Football last night. Like I got me so jacked because we're going to be the same thing. Arrowhead Stadium, Chiefs and Bucks defense, like just rolling. Chiefs are 5-0, so it's exciting. But I think we should do something
I'm
live about.
going to tear Kansas City apart. Y'all heard it here first. I'm going to do very, very cool things in Kansas City, and I'm gonna let everybody know I'm doing cool things in Kansas City. Not necessarily where I'm at, but just what I'm doing.
No, but
Like we
it's going to
definitely got
be.
to check
But
in. It's gonna be, I'm at Gates trying to eat these lovely barbecue dishes that you guys swear by. I would
we're
love to
going to
kind
Jack Stacks.
of
Jack Stacks is the first
taste.
one. It's going to
Um,
be a Jack
all the
Stack.
places that you guys got, I want to try it. I want to see it. I want to see what y'all got. I'm a food lover, so shout out to anybody who has any advice on some of the food places that people wouldn't always suggest. If there's some good spots, I know that I've heard of some spots, but let me know in the comments if y'all have some good enticing meals that y'all like to go ahead
Yeah,
and let me know of that I don't know about, which I ain't never been to
yeah,
Kansas City, so y'all can tell me anything y'all want to tell me about it. So I'm
be
curious.
exciting.
But
Anyway,
That's this
what a
week's
show.
show.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Everybody who tuned in, like, share, subscribe. But, I think we're out of here.
Hey, I'm good to go. If y'all good to go, like she said, like, share, subscribe. We out. Peace.
Yep.